Good Sunday morning. In a week when much of Washington talked about a shutdown, which came at midnight on Friday, the word many mentioned around this city was actually meltdown. There were a lot of other words and phrases that emerged as the week came to an end amid serious questions about whether the Trump presidency has so lost its footing that it may not be able to fully recover. Mr. Trump likes to project an image of independence and strength, but the president's growing dependency on his base for political survival was exposed when he appeared ready to give up funding for his border wall, temporarily at least, in order to keep the government running. Mr. Trump's base revolted, with right-wing provocateur Ann Coulter writing a column entitled "Gutless President in a Wall-less Country." On the basis of his self-interest alone, Coulter wrote, he must know that if he doesn't build the wall, he has zero chance of being reelected and a 100% chance of being utterly humiliated. President Trump unfollowed Coulter on Twitter, but he followed her advice, saying, in effect, no wall, no deal. At the same time, his defense secretary and his point man on ISIS quit over the president's abrupt decision to withdraw from Syria based on a phone call with the Turkish president. And all of this happened as stocks suffered their worst December since 1931. Many have noted that despite Mr. Trump's many self-inflicted wounds, his presidency has benefited from not having to face a financial or international crisis. But perhaps now we need to face this uncomfortable question. What if the president is the crisis?
The shutdown hopefully will not last long.
President Trump ended a week of chaos as cracks emerged in his fragile Republican coalition.
It's really the Democrat shutdown.
But just days ago, the president claimed credit.
I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down.
And some Republicans are making it clear they hold him responsible for the third government shutdown this year after he rejected a deal negotiated earlier this week.
I'll just remind the president, the Republicans are in charge. And so the shutdown is on us if we can't figure this out.
On Friday, the president yielded to pressure from conservative supporters.
The wall has to be built, and this was a scandal that it hasn't been built.
The president has gotten word to me that he is either getting funding for the border or he's shutting the whole thing down.
Retiring Republican Senator Bob Corker responded, "Do we succumb to tyranny of talk radio show hosts? The reason we're here, we have a couple of talk radio hosts that get the president spun up." And on Capitol Hill, reliable Republican allies were shaken by the abrupt resignation of Defense Secretary Jim Mattis, who broke with the president on his decision to pull U.S. troops out of Syria, writing pointedly, "You have the right to have a Secretary of Defense whose views are better aligned with yours."
I think he's sort of a Democrat, if you want to know the truth.
Senate Republicans responded uneasily. Leader Mitch McConnell, who rarely breaks with the president publicly, called himself particularly distressed that he's resigning due to sharp differences with the president.
I'm very concerned about Secretary Mattis's decision to leave.
Ambassadors of our allies have been reaching out to senators to basically say what the hell is going on.
The president also alienated Republican hawks on the Syria decision itself, which he abruptly announced on Twitter on Wednesday.
We won, and that's the way we want it, and that's the way they want it.
This isn't akin to surrendering.
Syria's a total quagmire, but it's possible to make it even worse.
Russian President Putin hailed the move. Reliable Trump ally Fox News denounced it.
He's giving Russia a big win. Vladimir Putin praised him. He also is doing exactly what he criticized President Obama for doing. He said President Obama is the founder of ISIS. He just refounded ISIS.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.